Welcome to my channel. In this video, I'll identify 5 possible elements you can use when writing the concluding paragraph of your academic essay. You may notice that in comparison with my videos on writing an introduction and writing a paragraph of argument, I don't offer a defined model for writing a conclusion. That's because there is greater flexibility in how the concluding paragraph is approached. Let's start with an example and then we can explore important elements of a concluding paragraph, elements which are optional and what is best avoided when writing a conclusion. In this series, I'm using the following hypothetical essay question, and this will be what the concluding paragraph replies to. In what ways might adult learners encourage more challenges in meeting their educational goals than their younger peers? Answer in no more than 1,500 words in the form of an essay. And this is the example conclusion. Pause the video here to read this at your own pace, and then I'll identify the 5 elements you can consider when writing your own concluding paragraph. Let's explore the features of this paragraph. I'll start by highlighting 2 elements which are necessary for a concluding paragraph. This paragraph starts with a signpost, in conclusion. This leaves the reader in no doubt that the writing that follows will draw the essay to a close. We then read a restatement of the main conclusion, that is, a direct answer to the essay question. If you've watched my video on writing an introduction, you'll know that I also included the main conclusion, sometimes known as a thesis statement, in the example introductory paragraph. However, when restated in the conclusion, this is rephrased using different words to avoid repetition, but still uses keywords from the question so as to offer a direct reply. It's vital to include your direct response to the question in the conclusion, and so the reader is left in no doubt what the answer to the question is. Following the restatement of the main conclusion is a summary of the arguments presented in the essay. This element also featured in my introductory paragraph, and in this context I presented this as acting like a roadmap for the reader navigating through the essay. Like the restatement of the main conclusion, the summary of arguments is rephrased using different words. When this material appears in the concluding paragraph, it reflects some of the nuance of the arguments explored in the body of the essay. In this sense, it moves slightly beyond a simple rephrasing of the main arguments and reflects the greater understanding of the reader having undertaken the journey through the essay. So the main conclusion expressed as a single sentence and the restatement of arguments presented in the essay are the 2 mandatory elements of a concluding paragraph. There's flexibility as to the order of these elements, but both should be present in a conclusion. In my example conclusion, I also incorporate 3 optional elements. Let's take a closer look at these now. The first optional element is acknowledgement of the limitations of the study, or in this case, the essay. Acknowledgement of limitations is often a feature of academic journal articles, and this kind of academic writing is what is being practiced by students in their essays. So we might include this to indicate to the reader aspects of the topic we were not able to fully explore given the limitations of the word count, and perhaps the limitations of time and access to learning materials. For example, in this instance, the course materials may not have provided extensive coverage on adjustments educational providers can make for adult learners, so it would be understandable if a student essay did not include this information. Acknowledging limitations can also be important in a larger study, such as an independent project or dissertation, as a means of defining its scope. Even in a larger study, it would be difficult to explore all possible avenues, so in this sense, it can be a practical measure too. The second optional element follows on nicely from limitations, and that is possibilities for future research. The example conclusion acknowledges that additional work exploring adjustments educational providers can make for adult learners could be beneficial to research in this field. Within the context of an academic journal, this is sometimes used to indicate forthcoming research or to highlight possible research projects other academics could undertake. The final optional element in the example conclusion indicates the significance or importance of the research in this field. The example conclusion combines this with elements of the counter-argument, advantages which adult learners can bring to their studies. It will often not be appropriate to combine the significance with counter-argument material, but in this instance it enabled a celebration of the advantages of studying as an adult learner and was a positive note on which to end the essay. An element I didn't include in the example conclusion, which is often seen in argumentative essays, one in which the question asks something like, "Do you agree?" is a formal reply to the counter-argument as means of considering and rejecting all possible objections to your own conclusions drawn. Our question asked "in what ways?", which invited exploration of different options without requiring a diametrical yes, no or maybe answer. So in the example conclusion, it wasn't necessary to preference one way over another. As to what not to include when writing a concluding paragraph, avoid presenting new evidence or arguments, as these belong in the body of your essay and not in your conclusion. The function of a conclusion is to sum up your arguments and restate your answer to the question, and so the reader is left with no uncertainty. Finally, a note on word count. My conclusion is 173 words, so a little over the suggested 5 to 10% of the 1500 essay word count. In this sense, it's a little long, but I rationalised this on the basis of modelling as many of the optional features of a concluding paragraph as I could for the purposes of this video. Presentation-wise, the conclusion is contained within one paragraph. I hope that seeing this example has helped you to visualise the necessary and optional features of a concluding paragraph. Remember that writing an essay conclusion involves providing a definitive answer to the question, showing how you have arrived at its answer by restating your argument. This can be enhanced by optional elements which define the scope or limitations, indicate further possibilities for future study, and communicate the significance of the topic to the reader. If you found this video useful, give it a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel for more study content. Thanks for watching.